But today we are talking about whether you are the golden retriever or the black cat in your relationship. I know that that is confusing and it makes no sense, but that's TikTok for you. We're gonna break it all down.
I'm already liking this astrology thing we got going on. I want to know what animal I would come in as. All right, dating advice. I've given it before, and you can actually go watch the video right here called Size Isn't Anything. Well, that's the thumbnail. How to Get a Girlfriend in 2024. From somebody who got a girlfriend via Tinder. So if you want advice from somebody who has no right giving it, aka me, you can go watch that video. I still think it's pretty decent advice, but it focuses primarily on getting your own affairs in order before you go and try to date other people. You've got to get your own life in order and take care of yourself and love yourself first. That's basically my advice. If you would like more on that, you're more than welcome to go watch that video. Brett Cooper has her own thoughts, or at least the thoughts of somebody else that she agrees with. So let's take a look at what Ben Shapiro's long-lost twin sister has to say on the subject.
Welcome back to the comment section. I'm Brett Cooper. Recently, I have noticed yet another TikTok trend that we can talk about today. And even better, it is centered around dating and relationships, my favorite, because TikTok gives us incredible, often terrible TikTok and relationship information. But I honestly—
What if I want a boyfriend? Sorry, girls only.
Don't know how I feel about this, because in some ways, I agree with the principle of the trend.
In all reality, it's the same advice whether you want a boyfriend or girlfriend, and then be friend doesn't matter.
And yet in other ways, I find myself disagreeing heavily. There's a lot of nuance here, as there usually is with relationship things. But today we are talking about whether you are the golden retriever or the black cat in your relationship. I know that that is confusing and it makes no sense, but that's TikTok for you. We're gonna break it all down. Before we do, though, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel
golden
if you've
retriever,
not
the black
already,
cat.
and ring that notification bell so that you never miss a comment section episode. To start this breakdown, I think
I'm already liking this astrology thing we got going on. I want to know what animal I would come in as.
just need to jump in head first. We're gonna watch one of the leading forces behind this trend on TikTok, a creator by the name of Anna Christina, and every other video that's been created about this is really just an offshoot of what she said in these first videos.
Women are never happy in their relationships and marriages if they end up chasing their man.
This actually makes so much sense. I've always been the golden retriever.
That's why you want to become the black cat and he's the loyal golden retriever chasing you.
Oh,
black cat,
that's what it means?
Golden retriever. Black cat, golden retriever. Black cat, her
And not just because she was black.
retriever.
You know what I would love? I would love to see a combination of Jack Mack's green line theory and the box theory and the claw theory mixed with the golden retriever black cat theory. If you don't know what I'm talking about, good for you. You are not chronically online. But if you do know—
Why do people always compare people to animals when talking dating advice? It feels really dehumanizing. I mean, I think it's because, like, sexuality and romanticism is such a baser instinct that we have that, like, we refer to animals to describe it. I think that— I don't know if it's dehumanizing. I mean, I can see how it can be taken to a dehumanizing place. Yeah, Evo Psych. But I do think there's some credence to the idea that, like, we can't— it's beyond our control, it's caveman brain, etc. It's a matter of, like, controlling that caveman brain, you know what I mean? That's what makes us human. But we still have the caveman brain.
You see how this could start to work together. Basically, all of—
But yeah, she was citing a bunch of pseudoscientific drivel.
This is just social media terms for why relationships work and who is dominant in the relationship. Like, who holds the power, who is chasing who. There's different ways to describe it. Black cat and golden retriever is just another one. And even though these labels don't really make sense at face value, it does sort of make sense instinctually. Like, when you look at the pictures of those couples, you can't— I don't even know. It's so weird. And I think that—
all I saw was happy couples. We're at 144. Let's take a look. So we'll look one more time.
Black cat, golden retriever.
So the golden retriever is the one chasing. I don't understand. She's just pointing at the man and calling him the golden retriever. Seems a little misinterest.
I think that that is why it blew up, because people, including myself, were obviously instinctually interested in it and sort of got it, but then we're also trying to figure out the specificity of this and the similarities between the black cats and the golden retrievers that she was pointing out in these celebrity couples and what exactly it all means, because she doesn't really explain it. But people were suggesting what they think it means in the comments. One person said black cat energy equals dark femininity. That feels witchy, and I don't really like that description. Somebody else said Tom Holland and Zendaya. That's a good point. It's like a very happy, upbeat guy who's like utterly in love with this supermodel girl. Maybe that's a way to describe it. Another person said this is girl math. And girl math is—
okay, so why are we doing this though? What I'm not understanding is, why are we doing the golden retriever versus black cat thing? You know, like, is this going to be dating advice or what? Because I still don't quite know yet. And yes, I also love witchy vibes. Get yourself a nice witchy crystal girl.
How do you even describe girl math? Is girl math. In love with this supermodel girl. Maybe that's a way to describe it. Another person said this is girl math. And girl math is— How do you even describe girl math? Girl math, as my producer just said, is the female excuses for why we do things. It's not actually mathematical, but it's the way that we rationalize our behavior and our relationships. So this person is saying that they think this woman is just rationalizing these relationships, whatever. So anyway, like I said, it blew up. People started to dissect it. They made other offshoot videos, and she made tons of videos giving other examples. Bustle also took a stab at analyzing this trend, and they took more of an opposites attract perspective, which I would say is much easier to understand right away, but I don't think it's as substantial, and I don't think it's really what she meant. Bustle wrote, are you more
Daily Wire does need better editors.
of a black cat or a golden retriever? TikTok might have the answer. And in the article, they describe this theory like this. If you have a likable, friendly personality, you might end up with somebody a lot more chill and reserved than you are. Or if you like to keep to yourself, don't be surprised if you find a much more social, outgoing counterpart. It is the typical opposites attract mantra. But TikTok calls this the black cat and golden retriever theory, where one partner has the enigmatic vibes of a cat and the other has the off-the-wall energy of the beloved dog breed. And that is all good and well. That's fine. That is a fine
The debate with Exulanzic. I don't think I deleted any. Well, if I did delete comments, usually what I'll do is if I don't like you, I just like completely block you from the channel. So if I did delete your comments, I apologize. If they were inappropriate, then it was probably something like, I don't want to completely block this person, but I do want to make sure that this comment's removed. I do that even for people I like sometimes, because I'm held accountable sometimes for the comments that are in my replies. But yeah, I mean, if you have a contention with my debate with Exulanzic, you're more than welcome to, I don't know, maybe we can set something up. If you DM me on Discord or something, you can, we can set something up.
Analysis. It's all subjective, really. It's social media, it's TikTok. It doesn't need to be that serious. And I know that that is true for a lot of people. Maybe it fits into this theory, but in my opinion, I don't think that's exactly what she meant.
This is
and
really
I think
boring
we could
so
take
far.
this a little further. This is the English major in me. I'm like, let's dive even deeper. Let's extract all meaning from
Let's
one
actually
line
get to
of
some
a book.
substance.
That's all I did in college.
Reading is fundamental.
Like, I don't think there's any substance in just calling somebody a golden retriever or a black cat. Like, okay, what's the implication here? Like, what's the problem? You know, like, what are we doing, essentially? What is she talking about? She's talking about dating.
One commenter said, piece of advice I always remember. He needs to love you more than you love him. Just a bit. Only way it'll work.
Yeah,
Somebody
Discord in
else said,
description.
yes, an old woman told me that a relationship works better.
Hold on, what did that one
Just
say?
a bit.
He needs to love you more than you love him. I don't like that. You should love each other to the best extent that you both are capable of loving each other. And it shouldn't be a contest.
Only way it'll work. Somebody else said, yes, an old woman told me that a
Relationship works better when the man likes the woman a bit more. See, I don't like that. Don't like it.
relationship works better when the man likes the woman a little bit more. Okay, this is interesting. So now we're kind of getting somewhere. And this ties back to another viral TikTok from just a little while ago.
Women will always put in effort in the relationship to make it work, whereas man has to feel fully invested in the relationship.
And I know that some people might take offense to this, but I do think it makes sense. We're going to talk about that in
I think that's misandrist. Because I don't agree with that. I think that a lot of times men put in way more effort than women. Not more commonly. You know, I think that it's usually women put in more effort. But, you know, there are certainly circumstances where, like, the man's the one putting in the effort. You know, he's the one going out of it. And actually, you know what? I take it back. I think that men often put in more effort than the woman. You know why? Because they actually have to initiate. The men are always the ones who have to initiate. They have to pay for the dates. They have to, you know, they don't have to do anything like dress up nice or anything like that. Like, personal care-wise, I think that burden falls on women. But men, usually the financial burden falls on them, the initiating falls on them, the leading, the protecting, you know, all that stuff. Like, yeah, no, men work plenty hard in relationships, like a traditional quote unquote relationship. I just think this is misandrist.
a bit, but I think it goes back to
And yeah,
men's
it's teenager
pursuit of
magazine
women. But
material.
obviously, people had a mixed response. One person said, in the early months of dating my now husband, my sisters always pointed out to me that this man is obsessed with you. Happily married, going on 5 years.
Okay.
Somebody said, so I need to expect my girl to love me less. Nah, reciprocation is way more
True.
important. If I'm not getting the same energy back, I don't want it. And I think that's
True.
where it gets a little dodgy, because
What a
obviously
king.
you don't want to be 100% pursuing somebody that has no interest in you. That doesn't feel good. I think it's more about the men taking initiative and putting themselves out there for the woman so that they feel safe and protected. I think that that's more what it is, not that she doesn't like you and you're chasing her. That would be a stalker. Let's not do that. Somebody else said, I gave my ex everything and I'm single now.
Hold on.
Again, it's not black or white. Somebody else said, a million times true. I walked
That
away from
sucks.
the person I wanted
Big
to spend
L.
the rest of my life with.
Many times true. I walked away from the person I want to spend the rest of my life due to this. Women want to feel loved. Yeah, I don't know. Like, sorry, I got it mixed up in my head. Is it that they're saying that he should be the one loving her more, or that she should be the one loving him more? I forget now. I already forget because it's so stupid. I just don't care. We're at 456. Didn't they say that the women needs to like love more, a little bit more than the man? I don't know.
With due to this, women want to feel
I'm a little
loved.
lost.
And I am proud of you for doing that, because that means that you have self-respect and you are not going to waste any more of your time or energy on somebody that did not reciprocate it. But last comment, absolutely the reason I ended my 5-year relationship. I put in all my effort, got none in return. Like the man that you were with.
Okay, well, that's acceptable. That's fine. No, the man should absolutely put in effort.
Should be obsessed with you. That is something that should be revered, that is cool amongst his friends.
I think it varies from relationship to relationship. I think that, like, generally, yes, like, that is how you should be in a relationship, typically. But, you know, there are certainly relationships where it's more casual. It doesn't matter. As long as both parties agree. I think that traditionally, yes, you should both be obsessed with each other. Traditionally, that is usually how it works out best. But, you know, everybody's different. As long as you, like, if you and your partner both don't want to put in that much effort and you only want to see each other like once a month and you call that your relationship, okay, who cares? Like, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think you should move in with each other or anything like that. But if you want to call that your relationship and just have that, that's totally fine. You know, it is what it is.
Friends that he is, you know, 100%, 115% in. But I think what people are trying to get after and what this woman is sort of describing in the black cat golden retriever theory is the idea that a man should pursue a woman and that women want to feel pursued. It is natural. I mean, again, tying it back to the original video, it is.
I think women should pursue men. There's nothing more ballsy that a woman can do than, like, in the dating field, than like be the one to approach the man and be like, hey, you know what? I think you're handsome as shit. I heard you peeing in there. I heard you frying chicken in there. Boy, you frying chicken in there. I think that's pretty hot. You want my number? Like, I think that'd be sexy as shit. Do you know how many men would love that, by the way? Like, I feel like, you know, men feel like they have to be the ones to approach and women feel like they have to be the ones who get approached by. You know, and I just wish that structure were broken down a little bit, because it's not fair, you know? It's not fair. It's not fair to either party, really. That's just me.
It's as natural as one of my dogs chasing the cat down the road. Speaking of my dogs, we gotta talk about Rough Greens. Rough Greens knows that your dog's food is dead food. Your pet's health is just as important as your health, which is why you need to try Rough Greens.
Baby.
Rough Greens is a supplement that contains all the necessary vitamins,
Hey, her content's dog food. She's shilling dog food. Makes perfect sense when you think about it. Am I right? Boys?
minerals, probiotics, omega oils, digestive enzymes, and antioxidants that your dog needs every single day. Things that they are probably not getting from their conventional kibble. And the best part about Rough Greens is you don't have to go out and find some new dog food. You can just sprinkle Rough Greens on their food every single day. It is an easy, accessible, affordable way to upgrade your dog's health. Rough Greens supports healthy joints, improves bad breath, boosts energy levels, and so much more for your dogs. We already eat, and that obviously goes for dogs too. So in the morning when you're taking your supplements, you're taking your greens powder because you know you're gonna eat a cheeseburger later on in the day. Think about your dogs. They're gonna be eating their kibble. They need their supplements too. The team at Rough Greens is so confident that their product will improve your dog's health that they are offering my viewers a free Jumpstart trial bag so that your dogs can try it too. And that classic free Jumpstart trial bag will be at your door in just a few business days. So go to roughgreens.com/Brett or you can call 877-66-MY-DOG. Again, that is roughgreens.com/Brett or again, 877-66-MY-DOG today. And speaking of chasing, that's where all of this comes into play. That's where playing hard to get comes from and saying that the chase is good for a man. Granted, I think that those games are irresponsible and immature, but they do come from a place of truth. They come from somewhere. Like in terms of male and female mate selection, if we go back to our biological roots, if we go back into anthropology, biological anthropology, all the classes that you probably took in college, women have more mate selectivity because the stakes are higher for us. And this sounds so harsh and technical, and I'm sorry, but women are choosing.
I don't want to completely discredit what she's saying here. The stakes are higher for, you know, females, I should say, people with uteruses in general, when you talk about breeding purposes. Like, there's a really funny species of worm, I think they're like ocean worms, and they have what's called penis jousts. And that's literally the scientific technical term, penis jousting. Okay? I shit you not. It is called penis jousting because these worms are hermaphroditic. And so what they'll do is they'll fight. Their sexual intercourse is they fight over who gets impregnated. And the one who wins the joust, quote unquote, impregnates the one who loses, quote unquote. So it's very interesting. Yeah, they're slugs. Yeah, sword fighting with dicks. But the point of me bringing that up is there is some truth to that. You know, cis women and trans men uterus havers have to carry a fetus for 9 months, you know? And during that time, they can't reproduce at all. Whereas males, people with male genitalia, can just go on and reproduce all over the place. So don't reproduce all over the place. It's very messy in multiple ways. But there is some biological credence to that, but I think I feel higher about humanity that I feel like we've grown past that, you know? Like, people generally only have 1 or 2 kids anyway. I don't know. I just didn't want to discredit the scientific backing of that.
who they will be impregnated by, and whose child they will carry. This is 9 months of their life. This is a huge toll on their bodies. We get one little...
And I don't think that that should have any kind of effect of how we do current, modern day dating. We're not cavemen. We're not sea slugs. We are modern day 2024 people. You know what I mean?
Egg a month. Men do not have those stakes. They are designed to sow the seeds. They can do that constantly, every day of their life, multiple times a day, for years and years on end. So they're competing for a shot with these women who are designed to be selective and careful. We see this in the modern landscape because to this day, women still control access to sex. And that is why men chase. And that is why you should want a man to be chasing you, because that means that he finds you desirable, literally in a primal, biological way. Now, to take this out...
Like I said, there's some truth to that. You just get a little bit yikesy once you start like saying, no, this is the way it should be. This is the way it ought to be. The way it ought to be is if you find somebody attractive, you go up to them and say, hey, I like this about you, or I like that about you, or do you want to get a coffee sometime? There's nothing wrong with telling a girl she's cute. Just make sure that you're being appropriate about it,
Out of this weird technical anthropological lens, here's a TikTok for you. It's more cultural.
In the early stages, a man should pursue heavily. He should prioritize you. If he's not doing it, then trust me, he's not going to do it later.
That's an important...
Okay, I feel like there's conflicting statements on this though, because there are also men who are like big, manosphere types who will tell you that they'll tell men that like they shouldn't be pursuing super hard. And I'm a proponent of that, by the way. If a woman is like not giving you proper signals that she is interested in you, don't pursue. Okay, that's called being creepy. Don't do it. Pursue appropriately. You can pursue, but do it appropriately and pick up on the signs that she doesn't want you pursuing anymore. Because she probably won't tell you outright because of like safety issues. There are a lot of men out there who will become violent if they get rejected outright in public. Which, if you're afraid of being rejected outright in public, then don't approach women in public. Sorry, it's just going to happen. But, take the sign, take the hint. And if she says like, I have a boyfriend, or I'm married, or I'm not attracted to guys, or something like that, stop pursuing. That's your sign to stop, okay? That's your sign to go away. You understand? Maybe she's more direct about it. You're not my type, okay? That's fine. You say goodbye, you go away. Or, if you'd like to strike up a conversation and just be friends, that's fine too. But again, if you're going to continue pursuing them once you're friends, then don't become friends with them, because they've already made it clear that they're not interested in pursuing a romantic/sexual relationship with you.
Fact. If he's not putting the effort in at the beginning, why would you expect that he would do that later on? If he's not committing to you early on, why do you think that in 5 years you're going to be able to convince him to change your mind? What he was saying at the beginning, I think, is very true, which I know gets very complicated in our modern dating landscape. Chris Williamson, who I adore, he talks about this all the time, because women say that they want to be pursued by men, but then there are so many Gen Z women that say, just a man coming up to them and asking them out, they could see as a form of harassment. Like, I won't lie that it is a terrible...
Well, it's kind of both, right? Because you may want to be pursued by men, but then you can also be scared that like a man pursuing you might hurt you. It can be both, and it's sad that we have that conflict. But I guess ultimately, if you're a man pursuing a woman, again, just don't be creepy and take the hint. There are nuanced options that aren't on the scale of negging to constant badgering, and that's important to remember. Yeah, exactly.
Terrible landscape. Somebody said, I was told that feminine men seek attention and that masculine men seek to give you attention. I 100% agree with that.
Hold up. I consider myself very masculine, and I love getting attention, okay? Why do you think I'm a streamer? I love attention. All right, I'm just saying.
Somebody else said it makes so much sense. Rest in my femininity and let him do the work. And that's just...
If you're a content creator, you can't even say that you don't like attention, okay? I'm sorry. You're a content creator. You did that to yourself.
Another way to say that with a good, strong man who is masculine, who cares about a woman, in that situation, the woman is able to relax. She is able to let down her wall.
To be fair, that person was not a content creator.
She's able to be more feminine, doesn't have to feel as hyper-independent and angry and stressed and protective because she has a shield around her. That's kind of what this commenter is saying, I believe. Going back to the black cat analogy, this does not mean that the woman needs to be cold or disinterested. She is just letting the man pursue her, letting him take the lead as he drives the relationship, at least in my opinion. That's what I'm getting from it. The girl Anna from the original video, after this all started blowing up, she finally made a follow-up to explain what really makes...
What's so dumb? Sorry, I might have missed it. I'm gonna go back a little bit.
Somebody else said it makes so much sense. Rest in my femininity and let him do the work. And that's just another way to say that with a good, strong man who is masculine, who cares about a woman, in that situation, the woman is able to relax. She is able to let down her wall. She is able to be more feminine, doesn't have to feel as hyper-independent and angry and stressed and protective because she has a shield around her. That's kind of what this commenter is saying, I believe. Going back to the black cat analogy, this does not mean that the woman needs to be cold or disinterested. She is just letting the man pursue her, letting him take the lead as he drives the relationship, at least
I don't think that if you're interested in a man who's pursuing you, that you should ignore them in any capacity or like play games with them. Men don't want you to play games, okay? They don't like the games. I can guarantee you most men do not like those games. They don't like the game where you gotta like wait 2 days before you text, right? Or like, you know, I'm pushing away so that you'll pursue harder, right? Don't play those games. If you are a woman and you play those games, don't do it, okay? You're gonna get yourself, you could get yourself hurt. You know, I'm not gonna say it's going to happen, but you could. And then like more realistically, you're just going to make it harder for men to understand what you want. You know, don't play those games. Just make it clear what you want from the beginning, you know? You don't gotta be blunt about it. You don't gotta say, I wanna you in the bathroom or something like that, even if that is what you want. But just say like, yeah, you know, you're cute. Why not? Let's go have a coffee. He texts you, you text right back, you know? Or if you're usually lazy about texting, just be lazy about it. But don't change what you're doing on account of, you know, whatever. Well, what?
In my opinion, that's what I'm getting from it. The girl Anna from the original video, after this all started blowing up, she finally made a follow-up to explain what really makes a black cat woman. And some of these things I agree with, but some of it I'm like, oh, this is kind of superficial. So we're gonna go through it and we're gonna see what she really thinks about all of this.
Number one, talk less and do less.
My producer and I were laughing about this because both of us are in committed long-term relationships. I'm about to get married. She's married. Neither of us shut up. We literally talk constantly, but also I think that that's something that they like about us and they admire it. So they are still being the golden retriever because they're like, oh, this is so great. I can't wait to hear what she says. So again, I don't think that this has to be.
I just think, again, this just sounds like a game to me for them. You know, don't play games. Don't play games with me. Be straightforward with what you want or else I'm just going to say that reeks of dishonesty to me. Honestly, I'm just saying.
Black and white. I'm going to stop and start this a lot, guys.
You look like a clown. Stop doing so much.
I do agree with that. I do think that women should take a step back. I think that if a man is not showing interest, if he is not returning calls, texts, if he has not set up another date, let it go. Because here's the thing, if he wanted to, he would.
Agreed.
That is a like pop culture statement, but
yeah, we know
agree
she
with
never
it.
shuts
if
up.
He
yeah,
wanted to, if he wanted to pursue, he would let it go, move on, put your energy elsewhere.
Give your man some space so he can actually come your way.
That is very, very difficult for me, and that is something that I've had to learn because I am so hyper independent. Because often it'll be like, you know.
Again, like if he wants space, give it to him, but he should communicate that, you know? Like at first the default is yes, give each other space because you don't know each other that well. You're still getting used to each other. So at first that's the default. But like as the relationship progresses and you both indicate that, you know, that you don't actually want the space, then get rid of it, you know? Like if that happens over the course of a day, if it happens over the course of a month or a year, like that's fine. I feel like we're trying too hard here. We're trying too hard, both in this video and as a society. We're just trying too hard in this dating game. You know what I mean?
You know, if something is not done in 30 seconds, I'll just do it. I'm just going to handle it. I know how to do it best, whatever. No, it's like he's completely capable. That is why I love him. That is why I'm marrying him. I should let him take that responsibility because he'll feel great about it because I respect him. That is, I do agree with that. That is incredibly difficult for me to do.
If one person pulls away, the other person is forced to come their way. So every now and then, don't be available. If you want to become the mysterious black cat.
They're not forced. No, they're not forced. That's not true at all. You can just walk away.
You have to leave room for mystery. So don't always pick up the phone. Don't say yes to every single freaking dinner date or any single opportunity he's throwing at you.
I think that's very fair.
I don't. No, if you want to go to dinner with him, then say yes. What do you think he's going to do? Say like, oh, you made yourself too available for me? No, if you say yes to every single one of his dinner date requests, he's going to be ecstatic, you know? This is awful advice. Terrible, okay? You're just going to make the problem worse.
Fair. You know, set your boundaries early. If the person likes you,
boundaries,
work around them. That's totally, I mean, I get it. Preach. That is one of the reasons why, just in general, you shouldn't be sleeping with somebody right.
But that's not what she said. She said, don't say yes to every one of their requests. No, I would never date a woman like that. It's just not straightforward and it's not honest. Sorry.
That they have a vested interest in you, that they respect you, all of that. So I do agree with that point.
Learn to say no and prove to him
alpha
that your
woman
life
dating advice
is just as happy, satisfied, and fulfilling with or without him in it.
That's such an interesting thing, and that's the last point that I'm going to make about this video because
I think there is something to be said for making your life interesting, whether or not somebody like a romantic partner is in it. That part is very important. You know, I think like if you say yes to every single one of a man's date requests, he's not going to think that's weird. He's just going to think that you're really that into him. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have other shit going on. It just means that coincidentally you happen to be available. Now, if he asks you like, hey, it seems like you're available quite a bit, you know, and then you have a legitimate problem where you have nothing else going on in your life, and then you're honest about that, that can be a turnoff, sure. But if you say like, yeah, I just happen to have some space available, some room, you know, and even if I have other things going on in my life, I'd rather be around you, That's flattering. That's incredibly flattering. You know, like there are times when Katie gave up on certain things to be with me, you know? Be yourself. If you put on a front, you'll have to keep it forever. Exactly. You know, if you don't want to be the mysterious black cat, which if you're not one already, you probably don't want to be one, then don't be one.
There are things that I agree with. There are things that I don't agree with. I think the basic premise of it, I agree with.
She completely misinterpreted what she was saying there.
Dark feminine. I like what she's saying right here, where it's let him know that your life is just as fulfilling without him in it. That's one thing that my fiance has mentioned to me before. And he said, you know, you have a fantastic life. You are completely capable. You are very independent. You have great friends. And he was like, I never want you to feel like your life is fine without me in it. Basically on a constant journey of improvement so that I know that he is always there, that he is the, you know, the best protector, the best leader, so that I don't ever feel like I don't need him. And I think that that is so admirable. And I like that she mentioned there. And that was never something that I really thought about until he mentioned that point blank. And I
think making it clear that you don't need your romantic partner from the get-go is important. I do think that that is important because that means that you have self-respect and you have a life outside of that person. And you should always have a life outside of your partner, okay? Even when you're together, okay? You do not want to be codependent. That's called codependency if you don't have a life outside of your partner, okay? It's oversimplifying codependency a little bit, but that's a core aspect of it. You've got to have things going on outside of your partner, like I do with the stream, you know? Like Katie does with a bunch of D&D sessions that she does, you know? That's important. It's really important.
Loved it. A lot of this does not apply to being in a long-term relationship or a marriage, because once you've already gotten the person and you're committed, then it should be more about a balance and, you know, a give and take, which is great. Sometimes you need to step up more. Sometimes the man needs to step up more. I think this is more about the initial stages of dating, the initial pursuit of the woman. I think we should keep it in that category. But again, the comments were conflicted. One person said, I did less and he left me. Well, maybe it wasn't the right relationship. Maybe you did too little. It's a balance. Again, it's not all black and white. That's why whenever we do these relationship episodes, I'm like,
no, it's because you weren't being yourself. Or you were being yourself and it wasn't a compatible match. But if you weren't being yourself because you were trying to play this little mind game with him, then yeah, sorry, like, bye. I don't do mind games. I don't do it. I told Katie from the very beginning, like, communication is extraordinarily important to me. We must communicate with each other all the time, okay? Our feelings, where we're at, what we're doing, how we're doing. You know, it doesn't have to be, like, constant, but it should be very often, you know? I don't do it, like, obsessively, but I do like to know where she's at and what she's doing, just so, you know, I know she's safe, you know? I don't know. It's a balance.
Like, guys, some people's relationships are different, but based on principle, I do agree with a lot of this. Somebody else said, can you be a black cat and occasionally act like a golden retriever? And I think this is where it gets too deep. It's not really that complicated. We don't need to hone in on all the TikTok labels and let that drive our life. Just make sure that the guy is super into you and that he respects you and is pursuing you and that you respect him and revere him as a man and as a leader. I think that is the key. And I assume that that is what the original creator was trying to get across in her own colorful way. I think that she's using a fun analogy to describe the importance of men's pursuit of women and women's protection over her time and body. It's all anthropological to me. And I think that's the best way you can look at it.
I think looking at it anthropologically is actually a pretty negative thing to do. You're basically just reducing humans down to animals at that point. Like, you can explain norms that way and like tendencies, but you shouldn't explain how things ought to be that way. You know, like, I'm very interested in like the biological workings of how, you know, the dating marketplace works and all that. But ultimately we should be trying to overcome our baser instincts, you know, and like be better people overall and also just better at dating. It should be more than just a biological process and like a procreation process. It should be like, like she was saying, it should be a balance. You know, that honestly wasn't one of the worst Brett Cooper videos that I've seen, to be honest with you guys. I was expecting a lot worse, so sorry if that wasn't that interesting, but there you go. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.